Hey, shalom to the hopeful elect. First and foremost, call Halayim Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who teach the truth and rule well. This is the brother Yatabia wa Allah coming back from the GMS SF Bay Area camp. And I got a quick lesson today. All right, Lord's will, it's edifying. But basically going into the prophets being back. All right, and if you can receive it, all right, if you the Lord has given you that gift of faith and that eye salve, you would understand that reincarnation, all right, is a biblical concept. All right, it actually exists. Okay, so now I'm going to get this in Matthew 16 and 28. It says, "Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste the death," and this is Yahweh Shai speaking, "till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." All right, we understand that Yahweh Shai hasn't come in the kingdom yet. All right, that's called the second coming. That's it hasn't happened yet. So did these men stay alive? No. All right, we can read the accounts where the majority of them, or all of them, were put to death. All right, and then like John, he was exiled to the island of Patmos. All right, but nonetheless, all of them died. All of them went back to the spiritual realm. All right, so what does Yahweh Shai mean by this? Well, when you go further into the word standing, all right, G2476, for the B definition, BI, it says to cause a person or thing to keep his or its place. All right, now when we jump to Daniel 12 and 13, it says, "But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days." All right, and the Lord is telling Daniel, all right, that what? He's going to go rest, which means what? Go to the spiritual realm, go die, all right? But at the end, he's going to stand in his lot, all right? And how do we understand we're at the end times now? Why? Because prophecy is speaking, all right? Habakkuk, the second chapter, all right? Hey, everything that the Lord said that would come at the end, that's exactly what's happening in our time. So what does this mean? All right, what? How could some of those men not taste death? All right, how could they stand in the same place, their same positions? All right, and how could Daniel come back and stand in his same lot at the end days if they all went to the spiritual world, if they all died? All right, because of reincarnation. All right, if you can receive it, this is in the scriptures. All right, so Daniel is going to be in his lot, what? Being a prophet. First Corinthians, the 14th chapter, the 32nd verse, it says, "And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets." All right, now what does that mean? That means if you were a prophet in your past life, all right, like Daniel, all right, like the disciples, the apostles, all right, that were following Yahweh Shai, the same thing is going to happen when they're reborn. They're going to be prophets as well. All right. Now, us being in that last generation, in the end time before Yahweh Shai makes his returns, you have the disciples, the apostles, you have the prophets of old, all standing in their same lot. All right, doing the same thing. And what were they doing? Well, what did the prophets do? They prophesied of evil, pestilence against many kingdoms. All right, which is the same thing the prophets are doing now. And they're doing it in the same testimony of Yahweh Shai, which is the spirit of prophecy. All right? So these men, all right, standing in place, not having to taste of death, is talking about what? Now, there's some men on this planet that aren't, well, a lot, we should say, that aren't, and not just men, all believers, all right, the elect, the majority of the elect that are not going to have to taste of death, because you do have ones, all right, that are going to be martyrs. All right, the one it talks about the persecution. All right, but those, they're still going to have their same spot in the kingdom. But there's some believers, the elect, majority of the elect, that are going to be saved and not have to taste of that death. And how are they going to be saved? Through the chariots of salvation. All right, which is another lesson for another time. But short. Short explanation, so to speak, is the chariots of salvation are what the world calls so-called UFOs. All right, those are the chariots, the vehicles of salvation according to the scriptures. All right, but see, what's going to happen is the elect are going to be beamed up, and they're not going to have to taste the death. All right, and that's what it's talking about. That's the not tasting of death, that's the standing in thy lot, all right, it's talking about what now, all right? It says 1 Corinthians 14:32 again, it says, and the spirit of the prophet are subject to the prophet. So if you were a prophet in your past life, you're going to be a prophet in this life. All right? And last verse, Revelation 10, and I'll start at verse 9. All right? It says, and I went unto the angel and said unto him, and this is John the Revelator, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. All right. And did John the Revelator ever prophesy again against peoples, nations, tongues, and kings? No, he was exiled to the island of Patmos. All right. So what could this be talking about? Or what is this talking about, I should say? This is talking about reincarnation. This is talking about John the Revelator being back in his same position, all right, his same lot. Just like it was told to Daniel. Daniel would stand in his same lot at the end. All right, so you have all the believers, all the elect, all the prophets, all right, standing in their same positions as they stood of old. All right, just like how you have the 2/3 in the same position that they stood in. All right, and what was that? The 2/3 were those that wicked generation that was wandering in the wilderness. All right, who the Lord didn't let see the kingdom. Why? Because they were full of unbelief. All right, you can read the accounts of the 2/3 and what they did in the wilderness. All right, how they, wanted to go back into, after they seen all the miracles that the Lord was doing, they still wanted to go back into Egypt to go back to that comfort of eating what did it say, the leeks and cucumbers. All right, they wanted to praise other gods. They made Aaron make that golden calf. All right, all these things when the Lord was showing his power. All right, but that's that same generation, and they're gonna have to what? They're gonna have to be destroyed in the second death on this side and be reborn, reincarnated, so to speak, all right, in the kingdom, because they're going to be back in the flesh, but it's going to be a different flesh, all right? It's not going to be these bodies that we have right now. It tells you in Jeremiah, the 31st chapter, that we're getting new bodies, all right? But yeah, this is just a short little lesson. Lord's will, this was edifying, all right? But hey, the scriptures prove that reincarnation exists, all right? And if you can receive it, all right? Hey, but once again, call Halayim Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect, and Abba Babal.